Parshat Lecha is really the beginnings, the origins of the Jewish nation. Avraham Avinu, wherever he goes, he's Vayikra b'Shem Hashem. Calls out in the name of Hashem. The way the Rambam describes it. He debated. No one was thinking. Made them think. Showed them that their way of life was nonsense. We're dealing with a pagan world. Zal tell us his father, who was the idol manufacturer, left and had in mind the store. So Avram goes and destroys all the idols except for one, and he tells his father, this one, he did it. And of course, Terach, his father, said, they can't do that. So the obvious question is, Terach was that stupid? You need an Abraham to bring, Avraham Avinu's got to bring to his attention that he is serving something he created, that he's serving something that does not have a mind of its own. People were so not thinking. And Avraham Avinu was the only one. He was the only one that challenged. This sounds insane. People so don't think. I don't know what kind of answer you're expecting, but the answer is, that is correct. That is correct. Yeah, idolatry, there was a little more to it. They included black magic. They could program their idols. But it was clear the idol didn't have a mind of its own. You had to program it. People don't think. Well, maybe it was only in those days because they were primitive. They're primitive. I don't want to sound too radical. Maybe let's talk about ourselves. Are we always so intelligent in the way we make our decisions? Do we believe that everything we do really makes sense? The human being is capable of using brain power, talent, and invested in something that is nonsense. With all of our sophistication today, no, we claim they were primitive. It's very easy to call them primitive. Wherever we're at, we only arrived at because we built on what they discovered. I don't know what it's like if you really had to invent the wheel for the first time. Who knows? Who knows? Noah invented the plow, which means that for the 10 generations before him, they had to till the soil, but there were no plows. Oh, it's simple. Come on. Anyone could have thought of that. Sure, today. Today, everything's built on. Today, we've gotten to a point where technology is such that you can let your imagination run wild. There's so much available that you don't have to really begin thinking with a clean slate. You know, we're building on what everyone else did. But today, in this day and age, in terms of resources, talent, brain power, so much of it is being invested in stuff that is destructive and nothing more. Feeding into people's desires. Perhaps, I'm sure there are the people with the business mind that have no problem, that have absolutely no problem destroying other people's lives if they're willing to pay for it. The human being is just unbelievable. Once again, I'm talking about using brain power and talent. You got to be highly intelligent to create a lot of the stuff that's been created today. And so much of these things are directed solely at stuff that is nonsense. And nobody says anything. The world hasn't changed. It's so difficult to imagine. It's so difficult to imagine that people were bowing down to idols, claiming that that is the origin of existence, claiming that that's what life is all about. That's what everyone's doing. And I'm sure there were the more talented ones, some that were more creative, and of course the experts in black magic that can help things look exciting. And nobody was thinking. Nobody was thinking. We got to ask ourselves, are we always thinking? What are we investing our time and talents in? What are we investing them in? How much is just being invested in Playing. What do they say? The difference between kids and adults is just how sophisticated their toys are and how expensive they are. Does your average human being ask himself, why am I alive? What is life all about? How commonly is that question asked? Today! Well, has technology made things better in that respect? The study of Torah is not the study of ancient history. The study of Torah is an understanding of life today, understanding humanity, understanding right and wrong, understanding Hashem. So why does the Torah tell us these stories that happened so long ago when society looked so different? Because the human being doesn't change. Things are more sophisticated. The human being hasn't changed. And the Torah tells us what to do about it. And talks of one individual who stood up there and made a revolution. Brought meaning into the world. Taught the world chesed. Taught humanity the beauty of giving and sharing. Remember, that was at the same point in history that Sodom existed, where chesed was punishable by death. Where he challenged people, what are you living for? And it made a difference. So listen, we got to get clarity ourselves. We got to make sure that we're thinking. We got to make sure that we invest in our priorities. We got to make sure that we don't spend most of our time doing the things that are fun, play, cool. We got to make sure that we're using our brains in making every life decision. And then go out there and challenge humanity. Here we are. Here we are in this day and age. People are more educated than ever. There's more information available to everybody than ever before. At your fingertips. And humanity hasn't changed. People still make ridiculous decisions. People still can't get their act together. They can't get along with their spouses. They can't get along with their kids. They're not quite sure how important family is. They still don't know why they're alive. If you think the primitive people were primitive, if you think they were silly, it's so much worse when you realize how people that are so sophisticated can be so silly. The changes are all superficial. The sophistication is sophistication. We're less mature than ever before. Whatever goes in society is what goes. People watch as basic values are being destroyed, and they just go along with it without ever challenging themselves. Nothing's changed. The world's a lot bigger, though. It's smaller in terms of our ability to communicate with the world, but it's bigger. There are more people here. We need more than one Avram Avinu. We need an army of Avram Avinus to wake people up. Think. Does your life make sense to you? Have you ever bothered thinking through what your priorities are? If anything, it's worse because people are so busy. There's so much to do. You got to work out and you need your 3 therapists. And it's this one and that one. And why are you busy with your phone all day? And you watch. Think. Listen, Chevra, let's first be tough on ourselves. You can't start by being aggressive with others. We've got to be tough on ourselves. We got to live sanely. We got to make sane decisions. If we demand sanity of ourselves, that we get out there and we try to wake people up and just bring to their attention they're no different than the pagans of old, going along with just whatever's in style, not thinking, not asking questions. What you ask them could be obvious, but they never thought of it before because it didn't make a difference. This is our challenge. This is our challenge. The world is as insane as it ever was, only a lot more sophisticated and a lot more populous. So let's be sane, and then we can demand sanity of all of humanity. And the world will be a whole different place.